So welcome everybody. We are back again for our next episode, episode 3 with Chatty Art, myself, Janet and Sandra. Hi Sandra, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. How are you, Janet?
I'm good, yeah, really good. Yeah.
Good to hear.
So today we thought we'd talk about sort of the differences between young artists and old artists, especially sort of how times have changed maybe since the 80s, 70s, 80s, art then, and how technology has come into play. And yeah, just what we're faced with today and what kind of art, we see from younger artists and old today. Do we see any diversity? Just a general chit chat, I guess, around, yeah, the diversity between older artists and younger artists and what we're faced with today.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Sandra?
I've been looking at some art that has some digital work with it included, and I don't know how they do it. It's really cool. It's really amazing. But I mean, that's a whole nother layer of technology that you're going to have to learn if you're interested in that kind of thing, compared to just regular painting or, sculpting or something else, So yeah. I guess that's just an individual thing. If you want to learn it, you learn it and you add it. It's not something that I'm really interested in, although I do think it looks really cool and unique.
Yeah, I definitely see. I mean, when I was at school, I'm just seeing the diversity with younger artists now. Today, they've got technology, so they do have a lot more options. Whereas I think when I was at school, it was more around, just getting the paints out, painting something or something crafty, like you were saying there, which I wasn't too into sort of making things. I think I like more the pen and paper, drawing and that type of thing. When I was younger, it's developed a bit more now. I've got more into more crafty things, but I think fundamentally for me personally, I like the painting, and I still see young artists, doing that. I mean, if I look at my nieces, for example, they're only 5, and they get the colors, and they love drawing with felt tip pens, and just expressing themselves. And I was reading earlier how as sort of children, our art develops. So we start off and we'll start off drawing just shapes and just squiggles. And then it starts, as we get older, we start getting more detailed. So we start drawing the eyes and and then before we're sort of up to, I think it was 11, it was saying, then we start saying, oh, if we can't get the art exactly right, the detail, then we start saying, I can't draw, and things. So it's it just shows you how we change in the mind. It's we start off with kids, we're just having fun with the colors, then we develop shapes and we start to see things, I guess, in our environment. We start putting them on the page, but then the judging side of the mind comes in, and it's oh, this isn't right, you can't, no, this doesn't look right. And then before you know it, we kind of shut down that aspect of us. For those of us who think we can't draw, it's oh, I can't draw, so then it's that goes out the window. And I think it's a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah, well, that's just, when people tell you can't do something, and especially when you're younger, you believe it. And so that is very damaging, I think, to, say something like that to anyone at any age, really, but children especially.
Yeah,
not good.
Well, because I think art's different for everyone. It doesn't all have to be perfect. I think that's the thing. I mean, I think it's what you have in your head. You think, oh, when you draw a person, it's got to look exactly like that person. But then I've seen artists, when I was in LA, I saw an artist who basically was drawing stuff like a kid would, just a basic head and smile, and he was selling it for thousands. And it took off, on t-shirts and all kinds. So
yeah, I just saw that on same thing, stick figure type thing. It was like a kindergarten kid, and it was on that older artist's website on Facebook. But that is really cool because they have so many different types of art. You name it, it's on there. Metalworking, this, that. I mean, just things that you're like, how did you make that? Really, what is it even? But it's but again, it was a drawing that somebody older had made, and this thing had so many likes. I couldn't believe it. And then
Yes.
there's some on there, it just doesn't make sense what people are liking, because some people on there, their artwork looks like a picture, like a photography snapshot.
Right.
And they may have gotten, let's say, 10 likes. And yet that stick figure thing has gotten like over 120 likes and loves. And it's just like, but I notice a lot of them, people are having like little stories like, oh, I did this after my husband passed away. I decided to draw. And it comes out like a childhood thing with tears or so, and then of course everyone's on there saying,
Yes.
oh, that's just beautiful. And, it's part like, giving them support, moral support, emotional support.
I think it is that emotion, isn't it? Art drives emotion. And if it does, that's what causes people to want it, because it evokes something within them. That's when you've got a really good piece of art that has got to be part of it. I think it's got to evoke an emotion in somebody for it to really.
But I'll tell you what, being online, if you put something emotional about yourself along with whatever it is you've made, you're going to get, people are going to get on there and they're going to make comments. And if you have a fabulous piece of artwork and you just put something like, this is a thing I did, it's 12 by 16, made with whatever kind of paint on it, and it could be a masterpiece, really beautiful, and you maybe get 10 likes. So my point is, if you put like a sad sob story, and I mean, I believe a lot of it is real, but I'm just thinking, that's interesting how people are liking things, and things are just like, okay, when they're actually really amazing pieces of art that, when you look at it, how much work that would have taken, and, talent.
Yeah.
So my conclusion of what I just was telling you about is, when people are looking at your art, whether it be online or wherever it's showing, people are going to react to it how they are feeling inside within themselves.
Yes.
And I just realized that when, after reading all these comments people are saying, when someone has said, my husband's just died and this is, how I'm feeling, and it's come out onto my artwork looking like this. And it really, I mean, it's cool and it's great from, just putting it out there, and that's how you're feeling. But it's just, it just shows you like how people are reacting to certain pieces just out of their own feelings within. And I think a lot of it has to do with depression and what's been going on in the world for the last year and a half, 18 months, or however long it is.
Yeah.
That's what it's been telling me.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. I think we need connection, because we've lost that connection. Everybody's been very isolated, and we've gone into this sort of I think very introverted way of living because of the fear, that has caused through the pandemic. And I think people are needing that connection, and there's a lot of suffering going on, so they want to feel heard and seen. And the internet's a good place to do that, especially with the art as well. It's like, we're wanting to show somebody what you've put onto the page, because it can be quite personal art. So, to put something out there, they're really putting themselves out there, I guess, in a way. Yeah, exactly. Exposing their innermost feelings. Yeah, absolutely. And artistically, it's a combination that they, a lot of them are doing. Not everybody, but it's just something I've just noticed recently as I'm looking at this particular group. Right. Yeah. I think that's the thing as well today for younger artists. There are so many avenues, it can be a bit overwhelming. Whereas, when I started off like doing art, you probably only had, you did only have the galleries and things local to you, or stores and things like that. Now you've got the internet. It's like you could reach people all around the world, but there's so many different websites that offer artists, you know, places to show their work. And it's definitely sort of a huge web to weave. It's like exciting opportunities, but I can imagine it being overwhelming. I know for me myself, I'm sort of, when I'm thinking about where do I put my art, there's just, where do you start? You know, do I get a website? And then you think, I get a website, it's out on the internet, and then it's like in this place where there's billions of websites, you know, like, so it's down to connection, really. You need to know the right people and yeah, get it in the right place at the right time. It's that timing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like timing
is, yeah, like in anything is, yeah, important, definitely.
Yeah.
So you sent me this wonderful website, speaking of websites, of that young artist.
Yes.
Her parents were artists, both of them, I guess, professional artists.
Mhm.
And they taught her the ins and outs of being an artist. But her work was just incredible.
Yeah.
You know, because for me, I prefer artwork that comes naturally from people, rather than the big old background of, you know, learning how to do this and going to school for that. And that, but this girl, she has obviously professional training from two well-known, I would imagine, artists.
Yes.
And her work, I was so impressed. It really was amazing. It was breathtaking.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it because it is that very imaginative work. It's like she's weaving her dreams into the art. So it's like got a combination of like images of people, but also with animals going in there.
Yeah.
So it's got this and it's very colorful and expressive. Yeah, it was really something I thought you would enjoy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It had a lot to do with nature and kind of spiritual, which was really beautiful.
Yeah, I'll have to post the link under this video. So
yeah, so
anybody's interested, you can check out her.
Yeah, because it's really worthwhile checking her out.
What's her name?
I don't know. Oh, Dimitra Milan.
Dimitra Milan, yes, that's her name. 16-year-old artist. Very talented. Her wildest dreams into paintings. That's what she's created. So yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Interesting work.
Yeah. So speaking of artistry and stuff, Janet and I are going to make we're switching our art just for a short period of time into jewelry making.
Right.
So that's something we can hold up and show everybody.
We're going to be making some beads, right? Some paper beads. And
we're going to be making paper beads, and then we're going to make jewelry out of them. Bracelets, keychains, necklaces, whatever. So we'll be able to show those easier than our paintings because they're small. We can just hold them up.
Exactly. But, it's quite exciting. Well, because you're experienced in it, I'm not. This is going to be my first trial attempt. So your work is going to be sort of like, it'll be fabulous. And then you can see from your teaching what turns out with mine. So it'll be interesting to see what unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, anyone can do it. It's just a matter of learning and having the tools, a few tools that you need, and paper of any kind, really. So
yes, that's the thing.
Yeah. And then, of course, you get to use your imagination because you can paint them, you can glitter them, you can put wool around them. I mean, it's like an artist's dream candy store on a smaller scale.
Yes, it was. When you were showing me, I was watching those videos you showed me on how to make beads. You can actually design your own sort of background as well. You could either get some colored paper or you could draw your own and just roll it up. And it looks quite simple, actually. Hopefully it is. It looks simple, and it's like you do it and then you try it yourself and you're all over the place. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how we get on with it.
Well, let me just say this. It's a lot more simple than watching videos of people doing acrylic pouring and saying to yourself, oh, you just mix the paint and then you decide you want to put it in a cup, or, there's different variations of how you can put it onto the canvas, pouring it out. And, and it's like, oh, cool. You go ahead and you do it and you pour it and you're like moving it around, stuff's pouring all over the place. And it's fun, but then in the end, it's like, oh, this doesn't look anything like theirs did. So, it takes a while to learn that. Paper beading and stuff, it's is a lot more simpler. And it's fun because it's a craft more.
Right. Yes. Yeah, this is definitely something new for me because I'm sort of more of a, I would class myself as more of a painter than a crafter, so yes, I'm interested to see how I get on with it. And because you can use, I think that's what I like, you can use your own art in it. So it'll be interesting to design my own paper
on the paper.
Roll it up. Yeah. I think
it's like designing on fabric and then making your own dress with your own design on it. But it's on a small scale of that, right?
Yeah. I think it's like cool to, I've never done it, but the way you can sort of do your designs, like I do a lot of doodles and then turn them into prints, and then like make it fabric out of it. So you could then, I could probably make something like a duvet cover, but beyond that, it would have to be something squared flat, but yeah. In fact, no, I don't want to go stitching because I don't like sewing at all. It's not my thing.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. So maybe our next video, we can have some of that in there.
Definitely, yeah. We can show how we made.
We'll just show a couple of our beads. We don't have to really show how we do it unless, maybe we feel like talking about that. This is chatty art, so you never know, folks, what's going to come up out of our mouths. So
yes. Yeah, it's just what, that is caught our attention for the topic each week. It's like these older and younger artists that we've been discussing. It's just interesting to see how times have changed, and art hasn't changed drastically, I wouldn't say. I think it's kind of, there's still the acrylic, your oil painters, it's all this, it's still the same there. I guess it's just how people are going to evolve. I think it was the lady who wrote that book, Creativity. Well, she wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert. She has a book on creativity, and in that she said, everything's been done. It's not like there's something out there, but she said it's how you as an individual do it. How you, it's then, that's the uniqueness about it. It's how you as an individual put the picture onto the canvas. Is going to be different to everybody else because that's your unique, and that to me is what makes art more individual. It's not specifically the technique, it's how you as an artist convey it from your mind onto the canvas, onto the sculpture, whatever. That's the difference.
It's like fashion design. Like how many, a dress is a dress, right? Well, there's so many different things you can do to it, right? So, or what you can add, you just change three things, and it's legal. Like you're not copying anybody. So so it just all depends on what you're going to stick on something to change it up, right? But everything's been done before until you just, you add one or two things that may be odd or different, and then you have a new creation, right?
Yes. Yeah. I saw this guy today online. He'd done, he sort of liked a different architecture, like glass windows and things, and he started using digital technology, how they do the laser cutting. So he started basically cutting out these pictures of like glass, but he was doing it on layers. So then you get a different, like really fine piece of paper that had been cut really very delicately by this computer, and then another one, and he put layers and layers, and it just gave this beautiful design. And that's all just came, he was just messing on with it, and then started layering it up, and then started drawing, and all of this just suddenly came together, and that's how that evolved. That's what I love, the experience an artist has, from coming to just like, oh, try this, and moving it together, and then all of a sudden he's got these really beautiful pieces of art he's creating now. So that was another thing. I was like, technology.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because a lot of times you know, you have an idea and you know, you put it on paper or whatever you're working on, and it's just not working. Like you just can't fit it in, or it doesn't look right how you wanted it to look or whatever. So then what happens, you know, it's like, okay, now you got to figure something out, you know, and that's when something really interesting happens, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, in the end, you're like, I would never have thought of that had this not worked out the way I thought it was going to work out originally.
That's it. That's why failure is not a bad thing. You know,
Yeah.
failure is actually always teaching you something. So like when you look at that, it's like, yeah, use that as a creative approach to try something new.
Yeah, exactly.
Ways
like I mentioned, I think in the last video, like when my pours don't turn out, my acrylic pouring, you know, that's when it's like, okay, I'm going to fix this somehow, some way, until I like it. Like I just don't quit until it comes to a point where I actually like it.
Yeah.
Oh, and it seems to always work out in the end. So then I came to terms and realized, like, well, for me, most of the time acrylic pour is just a beginning. It's like a background to me.
Yes.
That's all it is for me. For some people, it's like that's the end of the creation. Not me.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, that's not going to happen. There's going to be more going on here than that.
But that's you. That's the lovely thing. That's your true expression. You know, you have that like creativity that you want to add more to it and bring it more 3D and more to life, I guess.
Yeah.
Rather than just
more to my liking, basically, right? Because it's really, we do art for ourselves, let's face it, unless you know, someone says, oh, you know, we do a commission work, and then you're like, what? Really? Now I have to like do something that I hope they're gonna like.
So I think that's the hardest, isn't it? Commission, when somebody wants it a certain way and then they've got a vision in their minds.
Yeah.
And you want to convey it onto the page. So yeah, there's that. It depends who's commissioning you, though, I guess. If they're going to be open and say, look, just go with it. I love your art. You know, this is the kind of thing I want, but I'm happy with whatever. Whereas somebody might go, no, I want it to be specifically, it's got I have this vision. Can you do? Then it's trickier.
That's when you charge $1,000.
Yes, the pressure is on.
For the pain and suffering. That's the pain and suffering charge, not the charge of the painting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, well.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, well, I think.
I think we've chatted enough, do you think, today?
Yeah, I think we've chatted it up enough.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, I hope you like the design, everybody. This is our new sort of like gallery look. Mixing it up.
Yeah, we're mixing it up. Don't expect that this will be on here next week.
Exactly. You know,
because we don't always stick to one thing. We like to move it around and, you know, be creative.
Yes,
that's why we're here. We're creative.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
And same to everybody online. And we hope that you will come back and watch Chatty Art with us, because I'm sure you will find something interesting on here.
Yep. We're going to be discussing all kinds.
Don't forget to hit the bell and the subscribe, because we would like that. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, everyone.
Everyone have a blessed day. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.